Hi, this is Joyce Lapp, and today we're going to make a watercolor fan, and it's great for the elderly and children. So let's begin. So what we need to begin this project is, this is a 10.5 by 14 watercolor sheet from a tablet that I bought, and this is probably the most efficient way to do it because cost-wise, you can actually use one sheet for 2 fans. So I cut the fan in half, and then I end up folding it. Now you can score yours. I scored mine there because I have a little tool that scores. That way it makes it easier to fold. And this is a craft stick that we'll glue in the middle like this, and that's how we end up getting it like this. I glue around, some of the edges, and then I end up using the scissors to cut this shape out. And you don't have to have that shape. I just thought it looked a little bit better. And then you can even go further and cut it here, or round it off all 4 corners like I did this one. You can stamp anything you want on there, but make sure you stamp them when they're still flat like this. And that way it's a lot easier to stamp them. And then you end up with this. And this is what you present them with. And all the tools, all the painting supplies that you need. You need a watercolor brush and watercolors and a bowl of water and paper towels. I always sit down and paint with them, and that's what we need to start. Okay, so when I begin, do a wet on wet. So I wet the whole background of this. And I try not to get too much on the flowers, and it's okay to leave some white areas or dry areas where the paint's not going to be, because see all the areas in there, it makes it look like there's little light dancing all around the flowers when you miss some of it. So you don't have to be so perfect in painting right on top of the flowers or right up next to them. So I wet all the background. Less is more when it comes to watercolor. I'm just going to do the background now because it's all wet. So I'm just adding the blue that I have in the background and just doing it like the first one I did. And I'm not worried about, like I said, getting it too close. Watercolor actually blends in together as it dries. The paper and the watercolor work together. Now, when I lay in that purple, I'm just going to lay it in there, like in various areas. I'm not brushing it, as you can see. Sometimes when you brush watercolor too much, it just doesn't look very good. It kind of muddies up your whole painting. So this doesn't look like it's going to dry very good, but you'll see when it dries, it's going to look a lot different. Just lay it down. Don't brush it too much. Make it easy. Nothing difficult about it. All right, now let's let that dry. Okay, so now the background's dry, so it's going to make it a lot easier to paint the flowers without them running into the background, because when you have everything wet at the same time, it all tends to blend together. So now we're just going to throw some colors on these flowers. Maybe I'll do this one yellow also. And we'll add just a little bit of red and orange. Just a little bit of that around here and there, just to let that, see how nicely it dries when you add a little bit of another color. You have 2 colors going on in there. A little purple flower in here. I always keep a towel in my left hand so that if I lay down the wrong color or something doesn't look right, I can always pick it up like that as long as it's wet. That's blending in too much with the background, so maybe I'll add a little bit of red to that one. Pick up just a little bit of that. And pick up just a little bit of that. And we'll move on to our leaves. Let's add some green. And remember, watercolor dries about, 50% lighter than what you put it down. what you see now. It'll be a lot lighter when it dries. See how that ran into the stem there? I'll just pick some of that up. Now I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to some of this green here, just to brighten it up a little bit. Now we'll let that dry. Okay, so the next step would be just to put the center in this flower. And remember, leaving all that white looks really good around the outside of the flowers. Most people in the nursing home or children, they just go ahead and paint however they want, but this is just a little bit of instruction that I give. And see how the white looks so nice around the flower? It really makes them stand out, so you don't have to be so perfect about everything. The other thing about this fan is that you can flip it over and they can do their own painting. And I always bring a marker with me so that I can write their name on it, or they can write their name on it, or sign their work down here. Thanks for watching today, and if you liked it, please subscribe. Have a good day.